Now, 16 years ago, wild horses were reintroduced to Kent and Sussex and seemed to be thriving. But last winter, similar horses died in the Netherlands in large numbers. So as the cold months approach, should we be worried for the wild horses of the southeast? Emma Thomas reports.
Wild ponies roaming free in Stodmarsh near Canterbury. They used to be a common part of the landscape here in the southeast 7,000 years ago before becoming extinct. The wild ponies were introduced in a special project known as rewilding in 2002. Rewilding is a hands-off approach to conservation. Instead of managing the land, the idea is to bring back wild animals to do the job for us. In this case by eating shrubs and reed beds to stop them from becoming overgrown and to create habitats for other animals. Today we're searching for the ponies in this nature reserve in Breed Highwoods near Battle. Peter Smith of the Wildwood Trust near Herne Bay has been involved since day one. How difficult is it to catch them?
It's very difficult. They don't want to do what you're told, but we have to try and slowly move them along. And they can cooperate with us as well. They often know what to do. Sometimes when you take them to the field, they'll go through the other gate. They'll just, a couple of times we've picked them up, they just wander straight to where you are. They're inquisitive.
These iconic ponies, chosen because they're direct descendants to the wild horses that used to roam across the southeast. The inspiration for this rewilding project came from here, a nature reserve in Holland called Oostvaardersplassen.
Oostvaardersplassen is fantastic. I mean, what a wealth of wildlife. I've never seen so much rare birds, so many rare forms of plant all living in one area.
In this nature reserve east of Amsterdam, they were one of the first to use the concept of rewilding. The idea was so popular that leading ecologists from the UK decided to bring it over here to Kent and East Sussex. So Peter and his team brought 12 horses across the channel for a new life in the UK. They were released into nature reserves, including this one in Stodmarsh near Canterbury, that hadn't seen wild ponies for thousands of years. And since then they've spread right across the southeast. Everything seemed to be going well, but earlier this year, over in Holland, some trouble started. Last winter in Oostvaardersplassen was harsh. There was a shortage of food. Horses became emaciated and starved. This made Dutch animal lovers angry. They organised protests at the nature reserve. But has it really all gone wrong at Oostvaardersplassen? And could the same thing happen here? I went to find out, and that's why I'm with Peter Smith at a nature reserve near Battle. He and his team are rounding up wild horses because they're going to a new home. But in 50 acres of woodland, we'll have to find them first. The volunteers going up there, should we follow them? Why did the horses starve at Oostvaardersplassen?
Well, they had a good year where many of their population increased, and then they had a tough winter where there wasn't food for them. And this is what happens in the wild. Happens in your back garden to the little birdies in your back garden, or wildebeest on the Serengeti. It's exactly the same process, but it looks tough.
Peter says that although this is a rewilding project, just like the Dutch one, there is an important difference. There's less space available in the crowded southeast, so there are fences enclosing the horses in. And once you introduce fences, then you have to manage the horses.
We move them to where they can do the best job. We make sure there aren't too many and make sure there's enough food. All these lots of different reasons why you manage horses so the horses are healthy, all the beautiful habitat around here is healthy, and that's a lot of work.
Oostvaardersplassen throws up some interesting ethical issues about what rewilding is. Should we interfere with nature? Should we not interfere with nature? How can we protect our wild horses whilst letting them roam free? So here, although this is rewilding, they're still being managed to some extent. Over in Oostvaardersplassen, they're managed less, and because there's so much land, it means they're much closer to being actually wild. And if one winter there's a food shortage, that can lead to ponies starving. There's been a lot of public outrage.
There has, and people just aren't used to things in the wild. If you had a horse in your paddock at the back of your, farmland or whatever, and you starved it, that's appalling. You should go to prison. It's terrible. But as these horses are becoming wild, they are partly wild, you do have animals that die.
When we spoke to you at the beginning of the project, you said Oostvaardersplassen is fantastic. Do you still think that?
Having land just left bare, not interfering with it except for wild animals, you will get tons of wildlife back. So it's proved that.
Back in Breed High Woods in Sussex, the management continues as volunteers track down another one of the horses.
Let him come forward.
And under Peter's watchful gaze, he's led towards the pen. So the first one's in, the carrot and stick seems to be working. Over the next few days, all the ponies were rounded up and taken to their new rewilding projects. Peter is sure their future is bright and the events of Oostvaardersplassen won't happen over here.
Trying to recreate the wild is a tough job, and there's many lessons to be learned. But what we're doing here is managing everything much more intensely so we don't end up with any animals starving.
Emma Thomas reporting.